Good evening. This is Yvette at Yvette's Turn. I believe that everyone has a purpose. And because everyone has a purpose and a path, everyone is unique. No one can be you besides you. No one can be me besides me. And I think there is value in every individual and their purpose. So no one should be jealous of another if they truly love who they are and want their destiny, their purpose. But the way gets dangerous, or one's way becomes dangerous when one seeks to put on the cloak of another, when one wants another's destiny and thinks they are entitled to it. There is a story, a biblical account of two brothers, Esau and Jacob. Esau was the eldest brother, Jacob the younger brother. In the Hebrew tradition, which is the tradition that these two men came from, even though they never existed, these are stories. In the Hebrew tradition, the eldest son inherited the majority of the father's or the parents' wealth. Okay? Inheritance naturally went to the eldest. In the story of Esau and Jacob, Jacob, who is the younger son, ended up with the inheritance. What is overlooked when looking at this story is that Jacob wanted the inheritance. In this case, we're talking about physical things. But I want you to think in terms of destiny also, and spiritual giftings, and the giftings that God or divine or higher power, the giftings that one comes here with, and the giftings that divine gives individuals. And according to scripture, Christians, I'm coming down to your level, or coming to your level, everyone has been given gifts. Okay? This is what is overlooked in the Esau-Jacob account. Esau was the oldest and was supposed to inherit These were talking about physical things. But Esau did not value. If you go back and read the story, he sold his birthright over temporary hunger, over a bowl of stew. That is the only reason. That's the reason Jacob was allowed to usurp the inheritance. Jacob valued the birthright, the inheritance, the giftings, but Esau did not. Having said that, my walk, my journey, and I can only tell my story, has been a difficult one. I'm not saying I've been through more than anybody who has ever walked the earth. But if you listen to me talk, you can tell I've been through some things. Okay? I did not take shortcuts. And I walked out and am still walking out my journey and my process, and allowed the things that I've gone through to shape me and to make me and to hone my giftings. Okay? I allowed that to happen, the process, because I value my birthright and what divine gave me. And I've not sold it out for anything, not for comfort, not to not be homeless, not to having to get out of something easier. I went through the process because I value the journey and what it did to my soul. I feel better than I've ever felt in my life. Having said that, my destiny cannot be swapped. Okay? And I started out saying, everybody has a purpose. Everyone's been given gifts. I'm not talking about delusions of grandeur that would have me thinking that there's nobody else that has giftings. Of course there are. I listen to people every day that I can tell have been through their process, who are going through their process, and they are so precious. When I listen to them talk, I'm like, I was listening to a lady yesterday, I believe it was, on YouTube, and I enjoyed what she was saying. I learned from what she was saying. And I was just thinking, and I was listening to it because I wanted to hear the words. But in the back of in my mind, I was thinking, you're out the gate. Talk, you're out the gate. Say it. Okay? Because I can tell that she's had a journey that brought her to the place where she could say the things that she was saying. This can't be faked. And to try to take something that doesn't belong to you, especially when you don't have the spiritual balance and the spiritual competence. Your soul and your spirit has not been tempered, tested, and worked out. Trying to take my giftings is only a recipe to destroy yourself quicker. And then you have those who are scared of your giftings and actually take you somewhere and try to have a stopper put in those giftings. That's going against divine. That's going against God. God gives people gifts that He wants them, He, she, divine, wants them to have. And they are for a purpose. Who are you, low level, banshee being, to try to put a stopper in someone's giftings? These things must be accounted for, not by the person you tried to stop, but by divine. And you wonder why. And then you want to think that what you're going through is at the hands and by the hands of the one you worked against. No, your own ways have ensnared you. You can't shout that off. You can't fast that off. I'm just pivoting right here. Quote unquote, damage control won't work. That'll backfire too. Okay, now let's pivot on to the next thing. When I spoke years ago, I was invited to speak at a women's conference. And my subject at the women's conference was the woman of God, holy temple or haunted house. Someone received a prophecy, and I didn't give the prophecy, someone else did. Someone received a prophecy in that meeting. When that one was asked, well, what did they say? Let's talk, blah, blah, blah. What did they say? And those things are private. That's why you ask, okay? That's why you ask. You don't just walk up to somebody who's receiving a prophecy so you can hear. I've had that happen. What is being said over somebody else's life. If you ask. And when I asked, the person responded, oh, nothing. I know what was said. It was a warning. I knew it then. It has not been over the years that I have not seen, have not heard, did not know. Love overrode, and I allowed love to quote unquote cover the multitude of sin. But Ecclesiastes 3 says there's a time for everything, and this doesn't really even apply because love is not expected when someone is trying to take you out or trying to work against you and work against you fulfilling your purpose and your destiny. That's a simple matter of I've got to choose me and put the air mask on me on the airplane and get my oxygen before I can help anybody else. Okay? Let's move on yet again. A dream was had and shared with me. It's not a dream that I had. So this is not a dream that I sent, that I caused, none of that. It was a repeat dream that was shared with me. I am not going to recount the dream because the being who had the dream will hear this video, because I am aware that you are a monitoring spirit and have been, and I'm aware that your spirit does not have the resistance not to come by here just to try to see what's going on. A dream was had multiple times. And the one told me of the dream. And I do not take pleasure in this. Actually, it makes my heart feel very sad. Even though there's really no reason I should. But I'm not an evil being. I am not going to bring up the particulars of the dream. The one to whom I am speaking will know exactly what I'm talking about because it's going to come back to your mind. You spoke as if it were someone else. That is not the case. The someone else that you tried to make it, if you noticed the dream that you told me, was the only one in motion. The other one in the dream did not move. The one that you tried to make it be released and got into, let's say, a limousine. That person was still in motion. I get no joy, none, though I should not even care. And then the last thing that I'll interpret for you is a baby dreamed of me not being in 3D anymore. That dream, and I have no fear of leaving the earth when it's my time to, is simply not my time to right now. I'm always in and out of my body. That's nothing new. There will be a time when I leave my body and I don't have to come back. Okay? But the dream that was had there was not 3D. That was a death to connection, and that was a death to a certain type of life. Hope that cleared it up for you. This has been Yvette with Yvette's Turn. Good night.